Well, a very long time ago, when I was sitting where you are, I was very anxious. In reality, I was terrified about my ability to meet the expectations of medical school. I was very excited about the prospect of becoming a physician, but I could not clearly see how I would be able to leap across the chasm between where I had been as a successful undergraduate student to become a competent physician. I looked around the room, and I saw other faces reflecting the terror that I felt. So years later, those anxiety-ridden souls all seemed to survive. From that group came a number of people who made significant contributions as researchers, internationally recognized clinical innovators, leaders of departments and medical schools, as well as community leaders. So I have every confidence that all of you will not only survive, but thrive in your careers. Our speaker today is an individual whose career reflects true achievement rendered against a background of compassion and service. Dr. George Woods received a bachelor's degree from Westminster College and Doctor of Medicine from the University of Utah School of Medicine in 1977. He completed his residency training in psychiatry at Pacific Presbyterian Hospital in San Francisco, California. Dr. Woods is a physician licensed to practice in 8 states with offices in Oakland, California. His clinical subspecialties are neuropsychiatry and consultation liaison psychiatry, which is the study of psychiatric manifestations of medical diseases and the assessment of neurodevelopmental disorders. From 2017 through 2019, Dr. Woods served as Secretary General to the International Academy of Law and Mental Health during its amalgamation with the Institute of Ethics, Medicine, and Public Health at the Sorbonne in Paris, France. Dr. Woods has worked with many legal teams detailing with complex criminal and civil litigation. In 2021, Dr. Woods was appointed to the American Psychiatric Association and the Morehouse School of Medicine Center of Excellence, focused on African American behavioral health disparities. Recently, Crestwood Behavioral Health appointed Dr. Woods as Chief Scientific Officer, the first in the company's history. He currently serves as President of the International Academy of Law and Mental Health, being asked to return to this position for a second time in 6 years. For these and other accomplishments, Dr. Woods was selected as the recipient of the 2018 Distinguished Alumnus Award from the University of Utah School of Medicine, the first psychiatrist ever selected. Please join me in welcoming Dr. George Woods.
Good morning. Oh, I'm glad someone responded, because it is a good morning. It's really, to say that it's an honor to be here really doesn't give credit to what honor really means. It's a joy to be here. It's exciting to be here. It's, as Dr. Samuel says, a bit terrifying to be here as well. But I'm here, and I'm here because the University of Utah, when I was sitting where you were sitting, started me on a path that I never, ever imagined. There's one thing that I do want to comment before I go into my other comments. And that is, right after my white coat ceremony, I was at the elevator in the university hospital, and this really, really cute respiratory therapist opened up the elevator. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and 50 years later, me and my honey are still together, and I'd like to introduce Deborah. So, I really want this to be a conversation this morning, and because of that, I want to make it clear to those of you that are really becoming doctors today. not just medical students, no doubt about it. You are just starting this process. But you will be a doctor. You will go through this process. You will get through the other end, and you will learn and grow and love it and hate it. And you will determine somewhere along the line what medicine really means to you. Not just your practice, but what medicine really means to you. So I would like to extend an offer. It's very simple. If any of you over time would like to say hello, would like to give me a call, give me an email, to just kind of understand where you are in this process, please do so. And I'll make sure that you have my contact information. Don't not do it. Right? Do it. Because I did it. And it made all the difference in the world for me. Coming to medicine was not something that I always dreamed of. It was not something that I had planned. I came to Utah at 16 from Omaha, Nebraska. I lied to my mother and told her basketball practice started in the summer, and jumped on a train and first came to Ogden and then to Westminster College. I thought I was going to be a basketball player. You know how those things go. But I didn't know what I was going to do. And certainly being a doctor was not even in my thinking. When I was eventually accepted here at the University of Utah the first time, it so terrified me. Bar Taylor, I can remember sitting in our little office. Bar Taylor is telling me, you can be a doctor. You can do this. You're a smart guy. And it scared me so much that I turned it down. I went to California and became a salesman for IBM. Sold computers at a time where one of them would probably kind of fit this room, you know. And I had a manager. I was telling him this story by the name of Don Bickle, and Don said to me, "What? Are you crazy?" So I reapplied, and the school looked at me, you know, kind of askance. Wait a minute, we gave you this opportunity. You chose not to take it. Why should we give you this opportunity again? But they did. And I came to the University of Utah, and two things happened. Yes, I became a doctor. On my first day, the white coat day, I remember it as if it were yesterday. But keep in mind that I had my good neurons at that time. And Clifford Snyder, who was a famous surgeon, dressed in, at that time, a hand-tailored, embroidered white coat, was standing in the place I am now. With that inimitable confidence only a master surgeon, really part of the team that first separated conjoined twins, could exude, Dr. Snyder urged us to, quote, be an intermediary between God and man. My first response was, wow, I just want to be a doctor. I mean, I really wasn't particularly religious and kind of was intimidated by the idea of being a messenger from the on high. So my message today is really somewhat simpler, but hopefully no less meaningful. I want to talk to you about intersectionality and medicine. But I'm going to repeat this. Intersectionality is defined as the complex, cumulative way in which multiple forms of interaction combine, overlap, and intersect. When intersectionality was first defined by Kimberly Crenshaw in the 1980s, it really kind of reflected marginalized persons. However, I believe that intersectionality has an important role in understanding the future of medicine. That's you, right? That's who you are. You're the future of medicine. Let me give you a quick example. In the 1950s, when psychiatrists were fishing around for better treatments than the frontal lobotomy and electroshock, we literally stumbled upon antipsychotic medication. It seemed to be pretty effective for what we call positive symptoms, hallucinations, delusions. Positive symptoms are what most of us think of when we think of serious mental illness. However, today, August 12th, 2022, we understand that there are more than positive symptoms. There are negative symptoms, problems with motivation, problems with language. There are cognitive symptoms. We know that most of what we think of as psychiatric disorder are brain disorders, are disorders of cognition. And therefore, you have the cognitive symptoms of problem solving, not understanding context. Even though we clearly understand the role of negative and cognitive symptoms, our current treatment approach, which is primarily pharmacological, it doesn't work for those symptoms. We don't have effective treatments as psychiatrists for negative symptoms. We don't have effective treatments as psychiatrists for cognitive symptoms. We basically are still in the dark in terms of treating two of the most important symptom complexes in severe psychiatric medicine. This is true throughout medicine. Cardiovascular surgery, control of infectious diseases, glomerular filtration rates and race, hypopoxemia, measurements in melanin, the assessment of trauma in women and children, effective treatment for cancers. These are all up in the air. Do we have treatments? Yes. Can we do better? Absolutely. And we're waiting for you to help us understand and figure out these new treatments. What does this daunting task mean? First, we have to enlist tools which have always been there, but somehow not given the importance to health they should have. Environment most often outweighs genetics. Environment is a scientific tool, not a psychological tool, not a sociological phenomenon. Environment is a health tool which shapes who we are, how we look at the world. It changes our brain, it changes our heart, and it changes our gut. We know that now and have to add understanding of our patient's environment to our armamentarium of medical tools. Gender, ethnicity, sexual identity, race, age. These are tools. These are not labels. These are tools and tools to be used to understand more thoroughly the unique individual in front of us, trying to stay healthy or be healed. In many ways, your generation of doctors has the ability to move away from the discrimination which has led to terrible outcomes in medicine by embracing the complexity of the client, the complexity, not the checklist, the complexity of the client, examining every nuance of the person as another clue to health, not a label, not something to shun, not something to politicize, but as another nuance, understanding to who they are and their health. You will be able to get to some of the answers my generation has avoided. Replace competency with humility. No, we have the opportunity to be humble because we are confident in our knowledge and our skills. There's no reason for ego. Be curious. Who are these people who are entrusting their lives in your hands? Consider health, not just pathology. How can I keep them and myself healthy? This is most important, Take great care of yourself. Take time off. Go skiing. Kiss your partner. Work when and where you want. Your health is the linchpin to your success. Don't be fooled by the hype, doctors. Medicine is lovely. Practice with curiosity, compassion, fervor, and humility. It is the most giving of disciplines, creating a life for you which will always fill you with pride. Practice with the understanding that those we serve are not a checklist, but rather an extremely complex puzzle, which you will never understand, yet will always find new and humbling, and you are, my doctor friends, the best. Take care of yourself. Thank you very much.